Let's talk about the time between the speeches being over, the dinner being finished up, and before the dance starts. Typically, this time is used as a social hour at most wedding receptions. I believe after 20 years of doing this, that you should do something during this time to help keep the guests laughing and engaged with the party so that nobody leaves. Still topping the list is an old school game called the back-to-back game. In this activity, we'll ask that you guys come up, stand back-to-back with one another, and we'll ask you a series of questions about your relationship. If you believe that you're the right answer, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna raise your shoe. If you believe that your spouse is maybe a better answer to the question, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna raise your spouse's shoe. So I'm gonna take you guys back to the moment where you first met. Between the two of you, who really made the first move? Once again, if you believe that you're the answer, go ahead and raise your shoe. And then we might ask, between the two of you, when it comes to driving, who's the better driver? And who's got the crazier friends? The next activity is called the Get Things game, and it's basically a scavenger hunt with things out of the audience. We ask for very simple objects. Your guests or even the wedding party is asked to run out into the audience, find whatever I've asked them to find, and return back. The last person that returns gets eliminated from the game. We might ask for a belt or a woman's left shoe, and this game typically concludes with 3 or 4 contestants being asked to gargle their all-time favorite song. The next activity is called Brain Freeze, and it's very simple. The wedding party comes forwards, they stand shoulder to shoulder facing out towards the rest of the group. We'll give them a suggestion, such as an occupation, and they have to come up with one word that relates to whatever that suggestion is. So an example of this is things that you would find at a hospital. And one person might say a nurse, another person might say a doctor, and the minute that one of those guests or your wedding party freezes, the audience is going to go ahead and buzz them, and thus eliminating them from the game. This game concludes with asking about you two as a couple, and we'll go right down the list with giving me one word that reminds you of the bride. So one person might say beautiful, awesome, fantastic, until somebody freezes, and then they get eliminated from the game. This next activity is called the hand to hold. What we will do is, as the groom, we'll throw a microphone in your right hand, and with your left hand, you'll be asked to touch a whole bunch of different hands. As the MC, I will ask you this one simple question: is this your wife?
Slowly give that arm a little touch, a little tickle. Tell me, is that your wife?
I don't think so. I hope not.
What is that one?
Hairy.
The next activity is called Question Question. For this activity, we'll ask that couples come forwards, stand facing their significant other, and all they have to do is ask a question. We're gonna go rapid fire back and forth until one of them freezes. The minute that they freeze, the audience will go ahead and buzz them. So she might say, why is the sky blue? He might ask, why is the grass green? She might say, how did we get here tonight? And he might ask, how are we getting home? As long as it's a question, they stay in the game. The minute that it's not, the audience buzz them, they get eliminated, and we narrow the group down to just the last 2 people. This game is incredibly fun if you have good outgoing people that are in your audience. So your job is to just make a quick decision on which of these activities, if any, that you would like to use at your wedding reception. With that being said, one of the key things is, because of the level of experience that I have, you can just grant that to me and say, will you figure this out for us on the night of the wedding? Oftentimes this works the best, because then we can kind of get a vibe for what the group is like on that night. After the speeches are wrapped up, we have a unique opportunity to do something for the little ones in the group. It's now time for the kids dance. If you guys are inviting kids to the wedding, oftentimes throwing a little kids dance for anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes gives the parents a good chance to go over and get a drink, and gives the kids something fun to do. Following the kids dance, oftentimes it's fun to get a couple of little kids up, put them on chairs, and then do a little activity called Kids Say the Darndest Things. In this activity, we like to ask the little ones questions about love, marriage, and relationships. Oftentimes the questions are simple, like how old should you be when you get married, or how old should you be when you go on your first date, all the way up to what does the perfect date look like? So these are the simple questions for the kids, and oftentimes you get a hand, and kids really truly do say the darndest things. So the question that I have for you guys is, 1, are you having little kids at the wedding? If so, is it okay to include them with the dancing very early on in the night?